So the Politico has now 2 African-American scalps. The Politico has taken out 2 black Republicans. They've taken out Herman Cain, and they're trying to take out Ben Carson today. And they always hated Westmoreland. They always hated Westmoreland. They hated him, too. But I think, as far as Ben Carson's concerned, if you're a young 19-year-old, or however young he was, and you're the top ROTC graduate in your town, and Westmoreland starts plugging West Point to you, and as part of the conversation mentions how you get all your costs covered, a young kid like Carson coming from the ghetto might, well, they're offering me a scholarship, might not have known how West Point operates. I don't know. I don't know if it's interesting or not. But here, my point, folks, is we've got the Politico and we've got CNN, and the 2 of them are trying to take Ben Carson out. And it's, who cares what CNN thinks, and who cares what the Politico thinks? This crap has to stop. It won't stop. It won't stop, and we can't ignore it and not talk about it when it happens, when the allegation. This is actually what I mean by way of what we do every day when we get up here. We're minding our own business. Like I said, I was getting ready to have just a run-of-the-mill, normal, everyday Friday. Now what do I find myself doing? I have to rise to the defense of somebody on my side who is under an all-out attack that's intended to destroy them. And this has been my point all along to people on my side who complained to me about the social issues. You got to stop talking about the social issues. They don't mean just me. They mean the whole party. We got to stop talking about social issues. The social issues, Rush, that's why the Republicans are losing. We got to stop. I said, I'm not the one bringing them up. The left is responsible for social issues being in the news because they are the ones launching attacks on the culture. They are the ones launching attacks on how we've always defined morality and civility. They're trying to throw it overboard. They're trying to upend it. Somebody's got to stand up and defend these things, and that's all I do. And we got it, and we sit up here and end up being accused of going on the attack or bringing up the social issues. This is exactly how it works. Now, let's go back to the audio soundbites quickly. Ben Carson was on CNN today talking to Allison Camerata. She said, you say that when you were 14, you almost killed your friend Bob with a camping knife. You tried to stab him in the stomach for changing the radio station. As you know, CNN's been trying to find people who were involved in these incidents or witnessed them, and they've tried to find Jerry.
You go and talk to people primarily who knew me in high school, who don't know anything about, for instance, the lock situation that occurred at Wilson Junior High School. I don't understand how talking to people who knew me, particularly after the time that I had become a much more calm person, how does that corroborate the story that I'm lying about this? I want to know what the methodology is there. This is a bunch of lies. This is what it is. It's a bunch of lies attempting, to say that I'm lying about my history. I think it's pathetic.
Camerata said, look, I know you call this tactics, but in politics, it's called vetting, and that's all we're doing. Mr. Carson, we're vetting you.
Is that what was done with the current president? Is that what you guys did with him?
Well, yes, as a matter of fact.
No, you did not.
President Obama's autobiography.
Are you kidding me?
Don't you remember that there was a whole question about his girlfriend, and that people went back to try to find the president's girlfriend, and it turned out that she may have been a composite character, and that was revealed, and the president had to talk about that.
You all did with President Obama doesn't even come close. Doesn't even come close to what you guys are trying to do in my case. So you've done your job, okay? Kudos. Let's move on.
And then Camerata said, okay, look, it sounds as though you don't like some questions, that there are some questions that you think are out of bounds, questions about your past.
I want you to ask Hillary Clinton the same questions you asked me. Will you do that? Will you promise that you're going to do that?
Yes, of course. Of course we ask Hillary Clinton questions.
Do you ask her questions about veracity of what she's done? I want you to go back and ask her some real questions about what happened at Benghazi. Will you ask her, when did a time arrive in our nation when we said it's too dangerous to go and rescue our people, when in fact you had those 2 Navy SEALs on top of that compound shooting those machine guns, allowing their colleagues to escape. But I'm sure they were saying, if we can just hold out, help is on the way. But help was not on the way. Ask her why help was not on the way. Please ask her those questions. I would appreciate it.
Doesn't sound like he's all that mild-mannered there to me. That sounds like almost an on-fire Ben Carson. Let's move over to some Hillary news, shall we? Because this is interesting, and this is from the Washington Free Beacon. As the nation's chief diplomat, Hillary Clinton was responsible for ascertaining whether information in her possession was classified and acknowledged that negligent handling of that information could jeopardize national security, according to a copy of an agreement that she signed upon taking the job. A day after assuming office as Secretary of State, Clinton signed a sensitive, compartmented information NDA, non-disclosure agreement, that laid out criminal penalties for any unauthorized disclosure of classified information. Experts have guessed that Clinton signed such an agreement, but a copy of her specific contract, obtained by the Competitive Enterprise Institute through an opens record request, reveals for the first time the exact language of the NDA. I have been advised that the unauthorized disclosure, unauthorized retention, or negligent handling of SCI by me could cause irreparable injury to the United States or be used to advantage by a foreign nation, the agreement states. Clinton received at least 2 emails while Secretary of State on her personal email server marked secure, top secret, sensitive, compartmented information, according to the U.S. Intelligence Community's Inspector General. So you've got a story here that she knew she was trafficking illegally in violation of an agreement she had signed. She was trafficking in top secret, classified information. And what you're not told daily, but that is still going on, is that the FBI is still really investigating this, and it's said that the director, James Comey, is personally involved in it. But then you have to remember, on the other hand, that she's a Democrat. And since she's a Democrat, never mind, because nothing usually ends up happening to Democrats. From BizPac Review, Hillary Clinton puts on a brave face, but sources say she's in big trouble. Frequent Fox News contributor Monica Crowley said that according to 2 FBI sources, Clinton ran at least 2 emails through her private server containing the highest classification of information, top secret. And there have been other bits of evidence, such as the Free Beacon story we just had. There's actually more than 2 top secret or classified emails. I've seen a number as high as 600. And there was this from the other day. During a speech to the Charleston chapter of the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Liberal Colored People, back on October 30th, Hillary Clinton discussed criminal justice reform. What kind of criminal justice reform? Well, in her words, the kind that makes it so that, quote, former presidents won't have to declare their criminal history at the very start of the hiring process. It's a Freudian slip, but still she made it, and it is really Freudian. Earlier today, I announced that as president, I will take steps to ban the box so that former presidents won't have to declare their criminal history at the very start of the hiring process. She said this to the crowd. She did not correct herself. She meant to say former prisoners, because that's the big push. Hillary wants felons to be able to vote. She wants people to hire them. She wants their past to be hidden. She wants them to be able to hide their criminal past during the interview process. But instead of saying prisoner, she said president. Earlier today, I announced that as president, I will take steps to ban the box so former presidents won't have to declare their criminal history at the start of the hiring process. She didn't correct it. It's a pretty big gaffe. It's not the first gaffe for the 2016 campaign, but like all of them, she didn't. You know, she's the smartest woman in the world. She didn't mean anything by it. No effort is even made to draw any innuendo. Brief timeout. Back to your phones. It's Open Line Friday. We'll get to it right after this.
Survey proven. The most readily identifiable talk show host in America. Rush on the EIB network.
The very last thing you want to think about when you wake up is the IRS. Now, if you owe taxes or if you have unfiled returns, you're accruing penalties that can reach up to 50%. Take Joe, for example. Joe had 4 years of unfiled, unpaid tax returns. He was unable to pay the IRS what they claimed he owed. Joe called the quick reaction team at Tax Defense Partners. He worked with their team of professionals. They went after his penalties, and since he met the requirements for reasonable cause, they negotiated with the IRS, and they saved Joe almost $40,000 in penalties. Now, they have a special offer right now at Tax Defense Partners. If you hire them to resolve all of your tax problems, they will go after your penalties at no cost. El Fribo. Tax Defense Partners, the only firm I recommend. Call them now, 800-730-7777, and get the IRS off your mind. Tax Defense Partners, 800-730-7777.
Can a protein originally found in a jellyfish improve your memory? Our scientists say yes. Researchers have discovered a protein that actually supports healthier brain function. It's the breakthrough in a supplement called Prevagen. As we age, we lose proteins that support our brain. Prevagen supports these proteins and has been clinically shown to improve memory. It's safe and effective. For support of healthier brain function, a sharper mind, and clearer thinking, try Prevagen for yourself today. Available at drugstores everywhere.
Hi, Chuck Woolery here. I don't like taking pills for minor arthritis pain, and I don't like those patches either. But I have found something that works. Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. It's real medicine that has no odor, and it works. And Australian Dream has an empty jar guarantee. You use the whole jar. If you're not happy, you can get your money back. But I doubt that you'll send it back because the stuff really works. Get guaranteed arthritis relief. Find Australian Dream in the little red box at Walmart or wherever you shop.
Hey, Russell Wilson here, and I know how important exercise is.
It's essential. It's essential.
With Play 60, United Way and the NFL are helping kids stay active and play at least 60 minutes a day.
Healthy kids, healthy kids.
But what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60 because great things happen when we live united.
Donate, donate.
Are you guys going to do that every time?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Get your Plenty card at Exxon or Mobil and start earning points at lots of places.
So I get points for filling up at Exxon?
You sure do.
What about getting coffee at Mobil?
Points.
Streaming TV shows on Hulu?
Definitely.
Points on my AT&T wireless bill?
Yep.
Buying soap?
At Rite Aid.
Buying you a birthday present?
Points at Macy's.
Visiting your parents?
No. You get marriage points.
Oh.
Exxon and Mobil are the only fuel brands that are part of Plenty, the rewards program that lets you earn points at one place and use them at another. Join Plenty for free through a participating Exxon or Mobil station today. Terms and limitations apply. See plenty.com/partners for details.
Drive past the big box stores. You'll feel the excitement when you walk through the doors of the newly renovated Tannerite Sports Outlet. New look, expanded selection, easier to find inventory. Tannerite's got it, and it looks great. Ammo, reloading components, powder primers, bullets and brass. Tannerite. Bulk and box ammunition. Tannerite. Gun parts, accessories, and survival gear. You know the answer. Tannerite. And you know Tannerite's price is as good as anyone's. New look, expanded selection, easy access inventory at the renovated Tannerite Sports Outlet across I-5 from LCC. Tune in to Real Estate Today, weekdays at 5:30 p.m.
I'm Bob Nelson, real estate investment broker and exchange specialist. Cascade Exchange Services is my choice for completing tax-deferred exchanges. Megan McMahon, who's a CPA, is my choice of the person to handle my tax-deferred exchanges. It's a locally owned company. They do business on a nationwide basis, same-day document preparation, and she's always available for free and very excellent consultation. Contact Megan at Cascade Exchange Services.
Depend on us for Rush Now and Glenn Beck this afternoon at 3 here on 1120 KPNW.
The global consulting company that has ties to the former Secretary of State and the presumptive Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton. The company's name is Teneo. They've just ignored a U.S. Senate committee's suggestion that they had undue influence at the State Department when Hillary was there as Secretary of State. Senate Judiciary Committee has been investigating for 2 years whether this company had improper access to the highest levels of U.S. government while Clinton was Secretary of State. This was the bunch that ran part of her email and server operation, and they're simply refusing to come up and answer questions. In its letter to the committee, Teneo declined to help with most of their questions, including questions about a previously unreported 3-hour meeting at the consulting firm's office in 2012 with Cheryl Mills, one of Hillary's consiglieres, when she was chief of staff to Hillary at the State Department. Founders and other workers at Teneo have also worked for the Clintons, the State Department, the Clinton Foundation, or a combination of the three. The company describes itself as a global advisory firm that partners exclusively with the CEOs and senior leaders of many of the world's largest and most complex companies and organizations. Their connection with the Clintons exemplify to Hillary's opponents what they say are her overly close ties to corporations that have paid her and her husband for speeches and who have donated to the family foundations. Hillary has dismissed such allegations and suggestions as baseless smears for political gain. So a company with ties to Mrs. Clinton has donated money to the foundation, and the Senate committee says, we got some questions for you. You not showing up. Here's Rick, Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Back to the phones we go. It's great to have you, sir. Hello.
Hi, Rush. First time, part time. I too, like Dr. Carson, was accepted to West Point without ever having applied. I was in basic training and was pulled out of the ranks, brought before the commanding officer, and told that I had been accepted.
What year was this?
This was in 1981.
1981, and they just, you were in basic training, and they pulled you out and said...
That's right. My drill sergeant was just as shocked as I was. I just did a 2-year enlistment as an enlistee, and there I was in front of the battery commander with some paperwork to sign. And as you alluded to earlier, what prevented me as a young man from doing that, which was a foolish mistake on my part, was it was a 10-year military obligation, which sounded like a lifetime when you're 18.
I can imagine. But you are right. This I'm not familiar with. I'm not familiar with pulling somebody basically off the obstacle course and saying, hey, we need you.
Well, what I understand, Rush, was later on in the Stars and Stripes, they had explained, there was an explanation that they were having trouble getting quality people back then. Just when Reagan had first come about and was building up the military, and pre-Top Gun movie, so the military wasn't as popular, and they were doing a lot of creative things.
All right, so okay, you're right. We're coming out of Vietnam and Nixon and Watergate and Carter.
That's right.
And the military had the most prominent military operation at that time was Carter's failure to rescue hostages from Iran, that desert operation that totally botched. So, but even at that, I've never known the military to be in such dire straits that in order to get cadets at West Point, they actually had to go out and just offer slots from great performers from the enlisted ranks. But I'm not protesting what you say, or I've never heard.
Yeah, no, I still have a little slip of paper from my captain because he wouldn't let me out of there until I signed a piece of paper saying that if I ever changed my mind during my enlistment, that he'd get me back in there. But I didn't know. It was ignorance.
It is at such variance with what the normal process is to gain admittance to either West Point or the Naval Academy?
Believe me, I've been beat up over it over the years by my parents and friends for my mistake.
Right. Well, anyway, what we've got here, if you're just joining us, the Politico has a story claiming Ben Carson has wildly exaggerated and maybe lied about aspects of his story involving West Point. And careful inspection shows there aren't any lies here. And it was a Politico that had their exclusive taking out Herman Cain back in 2012. So,
from the KPNW News Center, here's what's going on. Eugene police are searching for an elderly man who surprised and shocked a 26-year-old woman at the Owen Rose Garden.
And she noticed that there was a man who was in the bushes, but very visible, and he had his pants partially pulled down, and he was sexually gratifying himself.
Melinda McLaughlin with the Eugene Police Department says the man is a white male in his 70s, average build, white collar-length feathered hair, a white goatee, and wearing a white baseball hat. The woman who was kidnapped from Kennewick, Washington, and stuffed in the trunk of a car is telling more about what happened. Hazel Abel says she was in her home when she was attacked.
I opened the door, and they threw dirt from the flower bed just right in my face.
Abel's great-grandson and two other teens are accused of kidnapping her with the intent to kill her. The operator of a Roseburg medical marijuana